Hello students, today we are going to revise second chapter, which is residential status and scope of total income. The taxability of the income of any assessee depends on the residential status of a person in India. It is different from nationality or citizenship. Residential status of individual. For the purpose of income tax, an individual is divided into three categories: ordinarily resident, not ordinarily resident, non-resident. So, whether the income is taxable or not, it depends on the residential status of an individual. Okay. So residential status, resident type is resident, non-resident. Under resident, again you have to see whether the person is ordinarily resident or not an ordinarily resident. So if an individual, so for our portion which is assessment year 2020-21, for the assessment year 2021, previous year will be 2019-20, right? So you have to find residential status of 2019-20. Okay. So first you will find whether the individual is resident or non-resident. If the individual is resident, then you will find whether the individual is ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident. Got it? Now let's see the basic conditions. This is for an individual. If an assessee is an individual, basic condition is given under section 6 subsection 1. There are two basic conditions. Okay, if individual satisfy any one of the basic condition, he is resident. Let's see the first basic condition. Individual has been in India for 182 days or more in the previous year. And the second basic condition is he has been in India for at least 365 days during the 4 years preceding the previous year and is in India for at least 60 days during the previous year. Now, we are determining residential status for the previous year 2019-20. Okay. So, how to determine? Now, you have to check first. There are two basic conditions. Okay. Two basic conditions are, the first one is during the previous year, that is from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. Okay, during the previous year, if an individual is in India for 182 days, an individual is in India for 182 days or more. If an individual is in India for 182 days or more, that means he is resident. If he satisfies one basic condition also, he is resident. So, first check the first basic condition. If he satisfies the first basic condition, he is resident. Suppose he does not satisfy the first basic condition, then you have to check the second basic condition. The second basic condition is, during the previous year, he has to be in India for at least 60 days or more. That means during 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020, he has to be in India for at least 60 days. Okay, or more. So, if he is in India during the previous year for 60 days or more and preceding 4 years, preceding 4 years means the year is 2019-20, the 4 years just before 2019-20. The 4 years just before 2019-20 is 2018-19, 2017-18, 2016-17 and 2015-16. These are the 4 years preceding the previous year. Correct? That means from 1st April 2015 to 31st March 2019. This is the 4 years, this period. From 1st April 2015 to 31st March 2019. During this period, if the person is in India for 365 days or more. This is the second basic condition. Now, first check whether the individual satisfies the first basic condition. If he satisfies the first basic condition, he is resident. Then check. Then you don't need to check the second basic condition because you know he is resident. Okay. Suppose he does not satisfy the first basic condition, then you check second basic condition. If he satisfies the second basic condition, again he is resident. Okay. If he does not satisfy second basic condition also, that means he is non-resident. So, if an individual does not satisfy both the basic condition, he is non-resident. If he satisfies any one basic condition, then he is resident. What is the first basic condition? That during the previous year, if he is in India for 182 days or more, this is the first basic condition. And during the second basic condition is, suppose during the previous year he is in India for 60 days or more, and preceding 4 years he is in India for 365 days or more. Okay, this is the second basic condition. Got it? Okay. So, basic condition, individual has been in India for 182 days or more in the previous year. He has been in India for at least 365 days during the 4 years preceding the previous year, and is in India for at least 60 days during the previous year. Okay. Exceptions to the rule. Okay. Let's see the exceptions. An Indian citizen leaving the country for the purpose of employment, okay, or as a member of crew of Indian ship, must have stayed in India for at least 182 days during the previous year instead of 60 days. Okay. Now, an Indian citizen who is staying in India only, okay, and he is going abroad for the purpose of employment. He is going abroad for the purpose of employment, only for the purpose of employment, not for higher studies or for holiday. Okay, it is only for the purpose of employment. If a individual is staying in India and he is going abroad, okay, for the purpose of employment, in that case, second basic condition is irrelevant. Okay, so if an individual is going abroad for the purpose of employment, you just have to see first basic condition. If he satisfies the first basic condition, he is resident. If he does not satisfy the first basic condition, he is non-resident. You don't need to check the second basic condition. Even for a person who is a member of crew of an Indian ship. If a person is a member of a crew of an Indian ship who is in merchant navy, okay, or who is a member of a crew of an Indian ship, okay, any Indian ship, in that case also you don't have to check the second basic condition. Second basic condition is irrelevant. You only have to check the first basic condition. If he satisfies the first basic condition, he is resident. If he does not satisfy the first basic condition, he is non-resident. Okay. Now let's see the second point. An Indian citizen or a foreign national of an Indian origin visits India in the previous year must have stayed for 182 days instead of 60 days. Okay. Now, suppose a person is staying abroad. A person who is an Indian citizen is staying abroad and he comes to India to visit his parents or whatever. He comes to India for a holiday. Okay. Even for him, second basic condition is irrelevant. You just have to check the first basic condition. If he is in India for 182 days or more, he is resident. If he is not in India if he does not satisfy the first basic condition, that means he is non-resident. Okay. This is only for Indian citizen or a foreign national of Indian origin. Okay. You might be having some relatives who have settled abroad, right? So they are Indian citizens. They might be Indian citizens. They might not be Indian citizens, but they are foreign national of Indian origin, right? Okay. So these are the exceptions. Okay. So for these people, for Indian citizen leaving for the purpose of employment, a member of crew of Indian ship, Indian citizen or a foreign national of Indian origin coming to visit, have come to India on a visit, okay, for them, second basic condition is irrelevant. You just have to check the first basic condition. If they satisfy first basic condition, they are resident. If they does not satisfy first basic condition, they are non-resident. Okay. So there are chances that people are resident in 2 countries, okay, or more than 2 countries. Now let's read this. Resident. An individual is said to be resident in India in a previous year if he satisfies any one of the basic conditions. An individual becomes a non-resident in India in any previous year if he does not satisfy any of the basic condition in that year. The additional conditions are immaterial in this case. Correct. Now there are 2 basic conditions. Okay, the basic conditions, there are 2 basic conditions, A and B. Suppose an individual satisfies first basic condition, that means he is resident. You don't need to check the second basic condition also. Correct. Now if an individual does not satisfy first basic condition but he satisfies second basic condition, then also that person is resident. Okay. In this case also he is resident. In this case also he is resident. Okay. If he satisfies both the condition, then also he is resident. Okay. Now if he does not satisfy both the basic condition, then he is non-resident. If he does not satisfy both the basic condition, then he is non-resident. Okay. If an individual is non-resident, you have to check the additional condition. Again, in additional condition also there are 2 additional conditions to check whether the person is ordinarily resident or not an ordinarily resident. But if the person is non-resident, you don't have to check the additional condition. Only if the person is resident, then you will check the additional conditions. Okay. And now let us see the additional conditions. Additional condition is given in section 6, subsection 6. Okay. He must be resident in India for at least 2 years out of 10 years preceding the previous year. He must have been in India for at least 730 days in all during the 7 years preceding the previous year. Let us see the additional condition. Let me explain you the additional condition. Now, first additional condition is that he must be resident for at least 2 years out of 10 years preceding the previous year. So, which previous year residential status we are checking? We are determining for the previous year 2019-20, right? So, what are the 10 years preceding the previous year? The 10 years are 2018-19, 2017-18, 2016-17, 2015-16, 2014-15, 2013-14, 2012-13, 2011-12, 2010-11 and 2009-10. These are the 10 years preceding the previous year, right? Out of this 10 years, you have to check residential status of all the 10 years. Okay. You have to check residential status of all the 10 years. During the 10 years, he should be resident for at least minimum 2 years he should be resident. Okay, I'll take any random year. Suppose 1617 he is resident and remaining all the years he is non-resident. In this case, what is happening? He is not satisfying the first additional condition, because the first additional condition is he should be resident for minimum 2 years. Now he is resident only for 1 year. Remaining year he is non-resident. So now in this example he is not satisfying the first additional condition. Okay. Suppose he is resident during 11, 12 and 16, 17. Now he satisfies the first additional condition. At least 2 years he is resident. At least 2 years he is resident. Okay. He can be resident for all the 10 years. That is also a possibility. He is resident all the 10 years. Okay. So that means he is satisfying the first additional condition. Minimum 2 years he has to be resident. Now he is resident for 10 years. That's great. That means he satisfies the first additional condition. Correct? So out of this 10 year, minimum 2 years he should be resident. Okay. So that means he satisfies first additional condition. And second additional condition is during preceding 7 years. Preceding 7 years means till 2000, from 2012-13 to 2018-19. These are the 7 years preceding the previous year 1920. Just before 2019-20, 7 years would be from 2012-13 to 2018-19. Right? So from during this period, that is from 1st April 2012 to 31st March 2019, he should be in India for 730 days or more. Now, during this period, that is 7 years preceding the previous year, if he is in India for 730 days or more, okay, then he satisfies the second additional condition. So to become ordinary resident, he has to satisfy both the additional condition. That is, out of 10 years, he has to be resident for minimum 2 years, and during 7 years preceding the previous year, he has to be in India for 730 days or more. Okay, if he satisfies both the additional condition, only then he is ordinary resident. If he satisfies only one additional condition, or he does not satisfy any of the additional condition, he is not ordinary resident. Okay. So once you know that person is resident, you have to check the additional condition. Okay. Once you know the person is resident, you have to check the additional condition. Again, there are two additional conditions, A and B. First additional condition is out of 10 years, he has to be in India for he has to be resident for at least 2 years. If he satisfies the first additional condition, then you check the second additional condition. Second additional condition is he has to be in India for 730 days or more during 7 years preceding the previous year. If he satisfies both the additional condition, then he is ordinary resident. Okay. He does not satisfy both the additional condition, then he is not ordinary resident. If he satisfies one of the additional condition, that means if he satisfies first additional condition and he does not satisfy second additional condition, or he does not satisfy first additional condition but satisfies second additional condition, in this case also he is not an ordinary resident. Okay, he has to satisfy both the additional condition to be ordinary resident. Got it? Okay. Application of the conditions. If an individual satisfy one of the basic condition and both additional condition, he is said to be ordinarily resident in India. So basic condition, if he satisfies one basic condition, or he satisfies both the basic condition, and additional condition also he satisfies both the additional condition, then he is ordinarily resident in India. Okay, so he satisfies one of the basic condition and both the additional condition, he is ordinary resident in India. If he satisfies one of the basic condition and does not satisfy any one or none of the additional condition, he qualifies to be not ordinarily resident in India. So if he does not satisfy both the additional condition or he satisfies only one additional condition, then he is not ordinarily resident in India. Okay. Next, does not satisfy any one of the basic condition, he qualifies to be a non-resident in India. If he does not satisfy both the basic condition, then he is non-resident in India. Okay. I would like to repeat the same points again. Okay. First, you have to check the basic condition. There are two basic conditions, A and B. Okay. What is the first basic condition? That he has to be in India for 182 days or more. What is the second basic condition? That during the previous year he has to be in India for 60 days and during 4 years preceding the previous year he has to be in India for 365 days or more. Correct? 60 days or more, 365 days or more. Right? If he satisfies any one of the basic condition, that means if he satisfies first basic condition and he does not satisfy the second basic condition, or he does not satisfy first basic condition but he satisfies the second basic condition, or if he satisfies both the basic condition, in all the three cases he is resident. Now if he does not satisfy both the basic condition, then he is non-resident. If he is non-resident, you don't have to check the additional condition. But if he is resident, you have to check the additional condition to see whether he is ordinary resident or not an ordinary resident. Okay. Again, there are two additional conditions. First additional condition is out of 10 years preceding the previous year, he has to be resident for minimum 2 years. Okay. For at least 2 years, he has to be resident. And second additional condition is during 7 years preceding the previous year, he has to be in India for 730 days or more. Correct? Now, if he satisfies both the additional condition, then he is ordinarily resident. Okay? If he satisfies first additional condition and he does not satisfy second additional condition, then he is not ordinary resident. If he satisfies second additional condition and if does not satisfy first additional condition, then also he is not ordinary resident. If he does not satisfy both the additional condition, he is not ordinary resident. Only if he satisfies both the additional condition, then only he is ordinary resident. Otherwise, he is not ordinary resident, not ordinarily resident. Got it? Okay. Now, this was for an individual. Now, let's see for HUF. If the assessee is an HUF. To determine the residential status of HUF, you have to check the control and management of HUF. Okay. Let's see the basic condition. If the control and management of the HUF is situated partly or wholly in India, the HUF becomes a resident HUF. If the control and management is situated completely outside India, the HUF becomes a non-resident HUF. Right? Okay. Now, for an HUF, to check whether the HUF is resident or non-resident, it depends on control and management. Okay. If control and management is in India, then it is resident. If control and management is in India, it is resident. If control and management is abroad, outside India, then the HUF is non-resident. Okay. If control and management is outside India, then HUF is non-resident. If control and management is partly in India and partly abroad, outside India, then also it is resident. Got it? So, residential status of HUF depends on control and management. Where is the control and management? If control and management is in India, it is resident. If control and management is outside India, it is non-resident. If control and management is partly in India and partly outside India, it is resident. Okay. So if control and management is wholly outside India, then only it is non-resident. Otherwise, it is resident. Okay. So once you come to know the HUF is resident, then you have to check whether it is ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident. Okay, how to check whether HUF is ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident? You have to check the additional conditions of Karta. Okay, now once you determine that residential status of HUF is resident, then you have to check additional condition of Karta. If Karta satisfies both the additional condition, then HUF is ordinarily resident. If Karta does not satisfy both the additional condition, or he satisfies only one additional condition, then HUF is not ordinarily resident. For HUF, the additional conditions are same as those applicable for individual section 6, subsection 6. If the Karta of HUF satisfies both the additional condition, the HUF is said to be ordinarily resident in India. If the Karta satisfies only one or none of the additional condition, the HUF is said to be not ordinarily resident in India. So in case of HUF, you will check 10, if the HUF is resident, then you will check 10 years preceding the previous year, the residential status of Karta. And how many days Karta was in India during 7 years preceding the previous year. If he was in India for 730 days or more, if the Karta was in India for 730 days or more, and if the Karta was resident for at least 2 years during 10 years preceding the previous year, if he satisfies both the additional condition, okay, then HUF is ordinarily resident. If he does not satisfy both the additional condition, or he satisfies only one additional condition, then Karta is then the HUF is not ordinarily resident in India. Now let us see for AOP and BOI. For AOP and BOI, you can only see whether it is resident or non-resident. There is nothing called as ordinarily resident, not ordinary resident. There are only two residential status for AOP and BOI. AOP is association of person and BOI of body of individual. If the control and management of AOP BOI is situated partly or wholly in India, it is said to be resident in India. If the control and management is situated completely outside India, it is said to be non-resident in India. Now for AOP BOI, AOP or BOI, again you have to check the control and management. Okay, if control and management is in India, then it is resident. Okay, if control and management is outside India, then it is non-resident. If control and management is partly in India and partly outside India, then it is resident. Okay, so if the control and management is wholly outside India, then only it is non-resident, otherwise it is resident. So if control and management is in India, then it is resident. If control and management is partly in India, then also it is resident. If control and management is wholly outside India, then it is non-resident. Okay. Now let's see for the company. If the company rules applicable for a company, if the company is Indian company or the place of effective management in that year is in India, it is resident company. If the company is a foreign company and the place of its effective management is outside India, it is non-resident company. Okay. What is place of effective management? Place of effective management means place where key management and commercial decisions are taken. So, key management and commercial decisions, where the key management and commercial decision is taken. Okay. Place of effective management means where key decisions are taken and commercial decisions are taken. That is the place of effective management. Okay. If place of effective management is in India, then the company is resident. If place of effective management is in India, then the company is resident. Okay. There are chances that 1 year the place of effective management is in India, next year the place of effective management in some other country. So the year in the place of effective management is in India, that year it will be resident. Okay. And if place of effective management during that year is not in India, then it would be non-resident. Okay. So if place of effective management is in India, the company is Indian company. Okay. And if the company is an Indian company, sorry. If place of effective management is in India, that means the company is a resident company. Okay. And, not and, or. This is one criteria. There is one more criteria. If the company is Indian company. If the company is an Indian company, okay, then also it is resident company. So, suppose a company is an Indian company and place of effective management is somebody else. Place of effective management is abroad. Okay, is outside India. Indian company and place of effective management is outside India, still that company is resident. Still this company is resident because it is an Indian company. Okay. Now, foreign company means not an Indian company and place of effective management is in India. Foreign company, place and effective management is in India. Because place of effective management is in India, that's why this company will be resident. Okay. Resident in India. Okay. Now, Indian company and place of effective management is in India. So there is no doubt. This is resident only. This is resident. This company will be resident. Right? Now, foreign company and place of effective management is outside India. In this case, the company is non-resident. Got it? So, if the company is Indian company, it is resident. Okay. If place of effective management is in India, it is resident. Okay. Otherwise, it is non-resident. Okay. So, if the company is Indian company, place of effective management is outside India, still it is resident because it is an Indian company. Okay. If it is a foreign company, place of effective management is in India. Because place of effective management is in India, still it is resident in India. Now, Indian company and place of effective management in India, it is resident only. There is no doubt in this, right? Foreign company and place of effective management is outside India, then it is non-resident. Okay. What is place of effective management? Where key decisions are taken, commercial decisions are taken, the place where commercial decisions are taken. Okay. So, let's read this once. Rules applicable for a company. If the company is Indian or the place of effective management in that year is in India, it is a resident company. If company is a foreign company and the place of its effective management is outside India, it is a non-resident company. What is place of effective management? Rules applicable for a company with effect from assessment year 2016-17. Place of effective management It means a place where key management and commercial decisions, which are necessary for conduct of the business of any entity as a whole, are in substance made. Okay, I think that's it for the day, students. Scope of total income we'll do in the next class. Before starting scope of total income, we will solve few problems of residential status. Okay, that's it for the day. Have a great day. Thank you so much.